goal. So it's Chelsea Smith with a centre pass. It's round 11, Rochford Wines, match of the round action. It's Woori, Yallock and Wandin. And we are underway in the first quarter. Chelsea Smith straight off to Hayley DeBoof. Corliss comes back to Smith. And Wilcox calls for it long. And Woori could get the first goal here, but Wandin forced an early interception. Opportunity for Emma Warmeyer. Retreats back to Tweedale. Semos pops it over the top. Warmeyer once again is involved. Short pass inside the attacking third. Here is Annie Brown. Now an opportunity for Claudia Semos. Meager shoots for goal. Here is Amalia Blake and Wandin with an early break in the match of the round. 1 goal to zip. And Claudia Semos now with centre pass duties comes out wide to Kyla Meager. And she did receive a bit of contact there from Dunlop. Brown, short pass to Meager. Knocked away by Jamie Tuff. So a little early 1-1 win there. In what is a pretty big matchup. So Brown comes back to Semos, goes out wide to Meager, who lines up the goals and converts. So good early start for Wandin. 2 goals to zip. So Chelsea Smith again in the centre. Out wide to DeBoof. Comes back for Dunlop. DeBoof again is involved, just got a bit of contact. So Dunlop has DeBoof all in her own, but goes another direction to Corliss. Wilcox calls for it. And Hayley Wilcox, who's third for goals in Premier Division, a little bit offline early days, and interception is forced by Tweedale, is it? No. Didn't do it legally, and Wilcox again. Just attacking the fumbles early days, but she does get it to drop on this occasion and gets the first goal for Woori, Yallock, more importantly. So 2 goals to 1, the way of Wandin. So Brown, a long one to Meager. Could have gone to Blake, but decides to come back to Brown. Meager again is involved, so too is Brown, and here is Blake. Did that pretty well, got front spot on Amber Thorne and Jamie Tuff and converts the goal and gets the margin back out to a 2-goal difference. So Smith again in the centre, out to Corliss, long one to DeBoof, but beautifully done there by Emma Warmeyer. And Wandin on the counter-attack, here is Campbell, back to Annie Brown, Meager, lateral pass, and Dunlop stepped offside. Good interception, but just had her foot in the wrong place. Tough unable to affect it, and Amalia Blake converts. And given the key personnel missing, this is just the start that Wandin would have wanted. Semos to Brown. Meager comes inboard. Semos made it work. Could have gone to Blake, but went short to Meager, who lines up the goals. And Amber Thorne did well. Dunlop on the end of it, comes back to Thorne. Long drive is a good one to Corliss. Goes laterally. Here is DeBoof. And that feed well and truly over the head of Wilcox, and it is going to come back for Wandin. So Tweedale can get the Dogs moving out of defence. Out to Campbell. I think it was off the hand of Wilcox, it was. So it stays with the Dogs. Tweedale. Wasn't the most favourable one for Campbell, but she made it work anyway. Long drive into the attacking third. Finds Annie Brown short to Meager. And contact there for Amalia Blake, and she'll get another look at goal. This to make it a 4-goal difference. And she converts 5 goals to 1. Very nicely done, Chelsea Smith. So we're there to respond here. Really good opportunity for them today against an understrength Wandin side, and they've not made the most of it so far. Hayley Wilcox has been a little bit inaccurate so far, but she converts that opportunity, so very important there for Woori. Can they string a couple together? Semos made it work back to Warmeyer. Semos, Brown, Warmeyer had it knocked away by Corliss. Again, here is Annie Brown, been pretty busy in this first quarter, and that's a good feed for Amalia Blake, who can push the margin back out to 4 goals, and she does just that, 6 goals to 2. So Chelsea Smith again. What can she create out of the centre? Thorne, Corliss, could have gone to the booth, but came back to Thorne. Here is Dunlop, goes out wide, finds Chelsea Smith. Smith finds Wilcox, does she? No, but it falls into Corliss's hands. DeBoof laterally to Smith, and the one defence really making Woori work for it, but they have found a way through. Hayley Wilcox converts her 3rd goal, gets it back to a 3-goal margin. So staying in touch for the moment of the Tigers, but Wandin do have an early handy advantage. Semos Looks to go to Brown. Dunlop knocked it away. Does Thorne keep it in? No, she doesn't. So Annie Brown, short one, good one. Meager to Blake, good one. And Amalia Blake, she does have quite a big job today to really step up with a lot of her usual A-grade teammates missing, and she's making the most of it so far. Smith, Corliss, DeBoof. Bit of a look-away feed, and that's the second time Hayley DeBoof's just put a bit too much on one and straight over the head of Hayley Wilcox. So Tweedale, Campbell, Wallmeyer, Brown, back to Wallmeyer, long one to Blake, comes back to Brown, looks around, finds Meager, who lines up the goals. Blake, good rebound, converts, puts it out to a 5-goal difference. As the sun pokes away and the cold comes back, Meager comes all the way back, nicely done to Wallmeyer. Blake, oh, beautifully done by Jamie Tuff. Very quick with that interception. Smith wasn't expecting it. It's going to work out for Woori Yallock anyway, so it comes back to Thorne. Long drive, Corliss spilled it. And that's a costly mistake there from Danica Corliss, and Woori have just not quite switched on at the moment, it has to be said. Short one is a good one. Campbell and Wallmeyer working in tandem. Comes back to Brown. Semos. Blake wants it long. It goes short to Meager, who is offline. And the Woori defence get a reprieve. So they are 5 goals adrift at the moment of the Tigers. Dunlop could go back to Tuff, but she goes shorter to Thorne. Thorne does retreat back to Jamie Tuff. Long drive is a good one. Corliss presented a good option. Beautifully intercepted by Tweedale. She was straight onto that one and wanted her on the counter-attack. Here is Campbell, who got it from Brown. Meager looks at Brown. Dunlop, was there contact? Yes, there was. A little bit clumsy by Annie Brown, but probably didn't quite see Holly Dunlop in her vision. So Dunlop's got plenty of room to work with now. Short pass, good one to Smith. Could have gone to the booth. Gets rid of it just in time. Corliss looks at Wilcox, decides against it. Smith back to Corliss. Good feed, and here is Wilcox. Needs to convert, and she does. So 8 goals to 4, and Woori have the centre pass. Corliss, DeBoof, back to Corliss. Yep. I think a call for a strike. The transverse line might have whisked its way in there. Corliss, a little unsure where to go, comes back to Smith, and here is Wilcox. Can make this back-to-back goals for Woori Yallock and gets it back to a 3-goal difference. So suddenly the Tigers have a little bit of momentum going their way, but Wandin do have the centre pass. A good opportunity for them to respond and quell a bit of this momentum. Semos, Brown, back to Semos. Blake wants it long. And Amalia Blake, no, didn't make it work, and an opportunity for Woori presents itself. So Thorne will go back to Tuff. Tuff back to Thorne. Weave their way through the centre third. And now Corliss to DeBoof. Little unsure where to go. Retreats to Dunlop. Smith again is involved. Offloads to Corliss. Laterally to DeBoof. Wilcox got to the front, but it came to Corliss. And Danica Corliss, who hasn't had a look at goals so far today, makes no mistake on that occasion. Gets it back to 2 goals. And suddenly Woori are right back in this contest. And they do have the centre pass. Corliss, long one to DeBoof is a good one. And she finds Wilcox. And suddenly, Woori are right back in it. Back to 1 goal the difference, 8 goals to 7. And they've really got motoring now. Semos can go laterally. That's exactly what she does. Short one comes to Brown. She got it from Wallmeyer. Here is Campbell. Semos. Annie Brown once again involved. Meager lines them up and converts, and Wandin needed that. Just a bit of a steadier, just to quell a bit of the Woori momentum. Corliss comes inboard, knocked away, and this should work out. And Wandin can find themselves on the counter-attack. Tweedale goes short to Campbell. She'll go back to Tweedale. She goes laterally again. Here is Wallmeyer. Semos. Campbell again to Brown. Laterally. Works out to Wallmeyer. Semos puts it up. Amalia Blake. Thorne cut it up. Brown's going to go all the way back. Here is Warmeyer once again. Short to Brown, over the top to Semos. Meager or Blake. No, she'll go across, and there's a bit of contact on Brown. Blake calls for it long. Meager decides against the feed for the moment. She's going to get it now, though, Amalia Blake. And she converts and gets it back to a 3-goal difference for Wandin. And they just regain a bit of ascendancy in this contest just when Woori was starting to make things look quite interesting. So Brown receives it from Semos. Long and wide to Meager, and Amalia Blake with plenty of room out the back converts, and just like that, back to a 4-goal difference for Wandin. Smith, out wide, good one. Corliss, Smith. Waste no time to Wilcox, comes back to DeBoof. And knocked out momentarily by Campbell. Wilcox finds Corliss, and then it comes back to Wilcox. And she converts, gets back to 3 goals the difference, 11 goals to 8. Brown could go inboard, retreats, and does that pretty well for the moment. Warmeyer through the hands of Dunlop. Needed to make that interception work, and she hasn't. Brown looks at Semos. Eventually, that's where she goes. Semos could go to Meager. Knocked away by Smith. Knocked it on. Can Corliss run onto it. Clever little tap on. Worked out to DeBoof, and we're on the counter-attack. Long drive, and Wilcox out the back. Should make this a 2-goal difference, and she does. Clever play from the Tigers, and once again, this game is open right up, and Woori have the centre pass. Corliss laterally to DeBoof. Comes back to Corliss. DeBoof again is involved. Does she go long to Wilcox? Again, a look away pass, and it hasn't worked. Third time that Hayley DeBoof's tried that. Probably doesn't need to do it. So, Semos. Brown looks around, comes inboard and finds Campbell. She'll go back to Brown. Could have gone short to Semos, but goes further to Meager. Blake. Cleverly done to Amalia Blake, and again, Wandin just put out that little spot fire that Woori created. Meager, long drive. Semos did well. Good strong hands. And here is Amalia Blake again. And she pushes it back out to a 4-goal difference. 13 goals to 9. DeBoof, inboard, Smith. Again, a look away pass. Seems to be a theme of Woori's ball movement today. DeBoof just goes back to Dunlop. She'll go back to DeBoof, finds Corliss. Does she have a look at the goals? Campbell's going to be taken out of the contest. Corliss needs to convert, and she does. Gets it back to 3 goals the difference. So, doing everything they can to stay in touch, Woori, but Wandin seem to have the answers at the moment. But this might be an opportunity for the Tigers. Long drive for the Wandin midcourt. Has forced a turnover. Here is Amber Thorne. She'll go short to Dunlop. Long drive. DeBoof has done pretty well to keep it in play. Here is Smith. Comes back to DeBoof. Looks around. Finds Corliss. Corliss goes back to DeBoof. Smith, right on her measure. Corliss finds a spot that she likes and can make this back-to-back goals for Woori. She's got it, and it's back to a 2-goal difference. And the Tigers really making good fist of this game now. Corliss. She can go back to DeBoof. No. Thorne. Corliss. DeBoof. And finds Wilcox. And Hayley Wilcox maybe with the 3rd opportunity. No, maybe with the 4th. Oh dear, Corliss has turned it straight over. Straight into the hands of Warmeyer, Wandin on the counter-attack. And these are costly mistakes that Woori are making. Just when they look like they're really about to draw level. Thorne knocked it away, but Meager rebounded it nicely. Contact on Blake, and she'll get a shot at goal. Blake converts, there we go. So scoreboard reads 14 goals to 10. Thought Woori might have been a bit closer than that, but might have overestimated, and turnover forced by Thorne, but Brown was called for stepping anyway. Here is DeBoof, finds Smith. Does she go for Wilcox? She does, and Wilcox got a bit of contact. So she will get a look at goal. And maybe a chance to Get it back to 3-goal difference, or Danica Corliss, in fact, will get a look, and she does convert. So 14-11. This is the scoreboard. Smith out wide to DeBoof, and that is quarter time here in the Rochford Wines match of the round. Scoreboard reads 14-11. We will confirm that pretty. And welcome back to Woori Yallock Recreation Reserve for second quarter action in the Rochford Wines match of the round. It is Claudia Samos with the centre pass. It's 14-11. The scoreboard still reads, so that is what we're going to go with. Meager laterally to Brown. Brown, Blake. Jamie Tuff, brilliantly done, and Woori on the counter-attack. Smith finds Dunlop. She'll go back to Amber Thorne. Dunlop did well. Comes back inboard to DeBoof. Finds Thorne. Corliss looks around. DeBoof lost control, but it won't matter. Thorne recovered it nicely. Here is Smith. Goes out wide. Finds DeBoof once again. Look away pass. This time it works. And Wilcox converts the goal. So DeBoof, she tried the look away a couple of times. That time it paid off. And Woori can really make some inroads here. DeBoof. Smith. Another look away pass, and Wilcox again on the end of it. And Woori are right back in this contest. It is back to 1 goal, the difference. And suddenly, Wandin will just be feeling a bit nervous. Had a lot of control for most of that first quarter, but suddenly the Tigers are right on their heels. Semos, Meager, comes back to Semos. Kyla Meager lines up the goals. She will get another look. This time, she's got it, there we go. And they get a steady out to the Dogs, and they needed that. So Smith to DeBoof. Short one to Dunlop. She'll go back to Smith. She wants to go long to Wilcox, but she pulls the pass to Corliss. Wilcox has got it. And this is really good ball movement by the Tigers, and again, get it back to 1 goal, the difference. And they're right up for this challenge. Semos, laterally to Campbell, long one to Brown. Short to Meager. Blake calls for it, full short, and Jamie Tuff again. A couple of good moments early in this second quarter. Smith, short to DeBoof. She'll go back to Smith. Looks around, she retreats to Thorne. Thorne out wide to Corliss. Laterally to Dunlop. Short to DeBoof. Dunlop again is involved. Smith got to the front, over the top, and Wilcox. Feed wasn't very favourable, and Zoe Tweedale can get Wandin moving out of defence. Short one is a good one to Campbell. Campbell goes out wide, finds Semos. Semos inboard, beautifully done there by Amber Thorne. Woori on the counter-attack. Smith, Corliss, DeBoof. All the way across to Smith. Does she go to Corliss? No, she looks for Wilcox, and Wilcox has got it. And she can level the scores here, Hayley Wilcox, and she converts. And Woori have the centre pass. They've not led to this point in the game, but they've got an opportunity. Now through a Chelsea Smith centre pass to Corliss. DeBoof looks around, goes laterally to Corliss. Long drive, and it's a good one. And Hayley Wilcox converts, and for the first time today, Woori Yallock are in front. That is the first lead change of the game. And boy, do we have a ball game on our hands. Short one, good one. Brown. So Wandin need to respond here. And that's not going to work for them. Suddenly the Dogs find themselves under a bit of pressure. Woori much cleaner at the start of this second quarter than they were to start off the first. Tough. Good one to Smith. Gets it moving to DeBoof. Another look away pass. Works out to Smith. Here is Corliss. Wants Wilcox. Goes all the way across, and Wandin forced the interception. Really important that came off for them. Here is Campbell. She gets it moving on to Brown. Long drive is a good one to Meager. Blake. Well done, Amalia Blake. Had to make that work, and she did. And she can get this back on a level pegging. And Amalia Blake makes no mistake. 16 apiece to the match of the round. Corliss, Smith, in fact, out wide. Here is Corliss now. Looks at Smith, but Woomar knocks it away. Unfortunately for her, it would have been Wandin ball if she just left it, but she wasn't to know. Instinctively had to try and force the interception. So Smith, look away to Dunlop. A lot of look away passes from Woori Yallock today, and they're starting to pay off after a couple of mistakes in the first quarter. Smith, Wilcox has got it. And Hayley Wilcox converts. And again gets the lead back for Woori Yallock. They've really started to take control of this game. Semos, Meager. Brown did well to get on the end of that one. Comes back to Wallmeyer. Wallmeyer inboard. Good one it was to Semos. Semos looks around. And Malia Blake, beautifully done. Just had the height advantage on Jamie Tuff, and she converts in again. Levels the score, 17 goals apiece. So Smith out of the centre. Good one to Corliss. Corliss inboard to DeBoof. Did well to make that one work. Smith. Look away passes. A good one to DeBoof. Corliss wants Wilcox. DeBoof. Corliss. Will line up the goals herself. And Danica Corliss makes no mistake and again gets Woori Yallock back in front. 18 goals to 17. Semos. Campbell. Brown. Back to Campbell. Brown again is involved. Looks around. Meager lines up the goals. Did Blake keep it in? No, she didn't. And Woori can counter. Dunlop, good one to Thorne. DeBoof, back to Amber Thorne. Looks around, comes out wide, finds Corliss. Across to DeBoof. Wilcox. No. Well done by the Wandin defence, who suddenly find themselves under a bit of pressure, but they've responded well. So Tweedale on the last line. Will go short. That's a good one. Semos with ball in hand to Wallmeyer. Campbell out wide, makes it work in the end to Annie Brown. Looks around. So Claudia Semos. Blake wants it long. Meager knocked away by Thorne, and the ball trickles out of play. So Wallmeyer. Meager. Short one back to Brown. She'll go back to Meager, and Brown again is involved. Clever one-handed take. And a little underground pass works out, and Kyla Meager converts, and again levels the scores. 18 goals apiece. So it's bumper to bumper at the moment in the Rochford Wines match of the round. Smith. DeBoof. Smith. Wilcox has got it. And good patience from Chelsea Smith. Converts the goal. Well, it was Wilcox who converted the goal. Smith just with a clever feed, and Woori again with a one-goal margin. Brown did well, crosses, and makes it work to Meager. Semos. Blake wants it long again. Brown comes back to Wallmeyer. Brown. Brown, short one to Meager, and Kyla Meager again converts and once again levels the scores, 19 goals apiece. Really important this. So Smith, DeBoof, over the top, and it works out in the end to Corliss. Corliss, Smith. Danica Corliss, here is Hayley DeBoof. Smith again, Corliss. And she converts and again gets that one goal lead back for Woori. So making good fist of this game of the Tigers. Meager comes inboard. Good one. Little underground pass. Meager finds Brown. Semos will get it out wide. Semos. Blake. Too good, Amalia Blake. And she can level the scores again, and she does just that. 20 goals apiece. Smith. Laterally. Good one to Amber Thorne. Thorne. Corliss. Inboard. DeBoof. Thorne again. Looks around. Finds Corliss. Smith, long, Wilcox. And Haley Wilcox converts again, gets the one goal difference back for Woori, 21 goals to 20. Brown, Meager. So it's goal for goal at the moment of the match of the round. Both teams scoring directly off their centre passes. Blake. And Jamie Tuff, that's a very crucial one-on-one win there against Amalia Blake. Very hard to achieve one of those. Dunlop gets them moving up the court and finds DeBoof. She'll go laterally to Amber Thorne, puts him inside the attacking third to Smith. Smith with a long drive, and here is Wilcox. And Woori might get a bit of a break, and they do. 22 goals to 20. And the Tigers have really found some ascendancy in this second quarter, and Chelsea Smith has got the centre pass. Looks around. Smith. Short one. Corliss goes back to Smith. I don't think she was expecting it, but here's Wilcox. Has to come back to Smith, though. Wilcox to the front, but it comes to Corliss over the back. And she converts, and now it's a 3-goal difference for Woori. This is their biggest lead of the game. And Wandin suddenly find themselves in arrears. Brown knocked away by Thorn. Beautifully done though by Walmart. Ran straight onto it. Made it work. Semos crosses. Tough. Brilliant done, Jamie Tough. Some crucial one-on-one victories in this second quarter. Really opening this game up for Woori. Alex Smith could have gone to the boost. She goes long and Wilcox made it work. And Hayley Wilcox converts. It's a 4-goal difference now for the Tigers. And Wandin suddenly with a lot of work to do. Short one, Corliss looks at Deboof, and that's where she'll go. And here's an opportunity for Wandin, and they need to respond. So Zoe Tweedale to get the Dogs moving out of defence. Comes back to Campbell, crosses to Wallmeyer, finds Semos. Looked at Brown, but goes short to Campbell. Brown should be involved now, and she is. Gets herself on the end of this pass. Comes back to Semos. Brown. All the way back to Walmart. She'll go back to Brown. Smith nearly got a hand in, but couldn't affect the pass. And here is Kyla Meager. Needs to convert, and she does. And they get one back to the Dogs. 24-21. Short one. Thorn. Looks for... It's gone over the third. There we go. So here's an opportunity for Wandin Tweedale. They can start to make some inroads on this margin. Semos did well. Comes back inboard. Short pass. Meager had it knocked away. And there we go. Converts. 24 goals to 22. And Wandin right back in it. Smith. Thorn. Corliss. Deboof. Thorn. Deboof looks at Smith and gets it to her. Smith finds Wilcox. And Hayley Wilcox converts and again gets back out to 3 goals the difference. So Woori still with a pretty steady margin as it stands. Brown, Meager, Blake, got it. And Amalia Blake makes no mistake. 25-23, back to 2 goals the difference. Deboof. Corliss nearly cut off by Campbell, but she's put too much on it. And again, Wandin with an opportunity to respond. Look away pass, works out to Campbell, and here is Wallmeyer, nearly cut off, but Semos did well to make it work. Long drive is a good one to Annie Brown. Brown short to Meager. Meager comes inboard. She's turned it over, though. And we're on the counter-attack. Corliss looks around, comes back to Dunlop. Here is Smith. Smith, Deboof. Doesn't have much ahead of her. Goes to Corliss. Corliss took too long. There we go. And the Wandin defensive held up. And fair to say, the Dogs suddenly realise they are in a bit of a dogfight. We've not made it easy for them in this second quarter. And as our cameraman now was not too happy with my little pun there, but when I see an opportunity, I've got to take it. And there we go. Wandin get it back to 1 goal the difference. Anyway, back it comes. Good one. Brown. Meager. Can she get it to Blake? So Wandin with an opportunity to level the scores. After trailing by as much as 4 goals in this second quarter, here is Amalia Blake, and she makes no mistake. Gets it back on a level pegging. This is a good fight back from Wandin. Deboof. Comes back to Thorn. Thorn. Corliss. Amber Thorn again is involved. Smith. Offloads eventually. She was called for holding it for too long. Here is Wilcox, who's really starting to own this battle against Zoe Tweedale, and Hayley Wilcox converts and gets it back to a 1 goal difference and gets the lead back for Woori. Thorn. Smith, well done. Does she keep it in play? Yes, she did. Good long drive to Wilcox. Comes back to Smith. She'll go back to Wilcox. And suddenly, Woori've got a break once again, back to a 2 goal difference, and Chelsea Smith. Fantastic intercepting work. And more importantly, kept the ball in play and set up Hayley Wilcox. It was a good feed. So here is Deboof. Good one. Works out to Corliss. Corliss, Smith. Smith over the top to Wilcox. Good feed. And she can push this back out to a 3 goal difference, and she does. And Woori seem to have the answers here. Annie Brown. Semos. Laterally to Meager. Comes all the way back. That's a good one. Campbell, Wallmeyer, Brown. Knocked away by Thorne, not legally. Brown, underground pass, good one. Kyla Megan needs to convert here, and she does, and she's been pretty good in front of the goals today, 26 to 28. So we're still a couple of goals clear at the moment of Wandin, and Corliss, good feed. Here is Wilcox, and she'll get a look on the halftime siren, Hayley Wilcox, and she makes no mistake. And as we head into the main change here in the Rochford Wines match of the round, the home side, Woori Yallock with a 3. Round 11, Woori Yallock v Wandin. Second half action is underway, and Woori were able to claim the lead in the second quarter. Wandin have the ball in their attacking end to start off proceedings in the second half, and they convert an early opportunity through Amalia Blake and cut the margin back to 2 goals. So Chelsea Smith with a centre pass. So Wandin with a little bit of work to do. They're only 2 goals behind for the moment, but Woori certainly really claimed the momentum in that second half. Here is Smith. Corliss, and Danica Corliss converts and gets it back to a 3-goal difference. So a couple of early conversions off the centre passes for both teams. So Annie Brown's moved into the centre. Claudia Semos has now changed into wing attack. Everything else pretty much staying the same. Brown, and she's coughed that one up, and could be a costly mistake here for Woori Yallock, and Jamie Tuff can get the Tigers moving out of defence. Tough. Good one. Dunlop looks at Thorne, gets it to her. Amber Thorne moves on to DeBoof. Corliss presents a good option. Comes back to Smith. Smith, long to Wilcox, and she's got it. And she can potentially push this out to a 4-goal margin. She does, and they've got the centre pass to the Tigers. Here we go. Comes out wide. Corliss. Smith, whose hand was that off? It's come off the hand of Wilcox, so Wandin will get one back. Campbell, Tweedale. So Campbell and Tweedale have also swapped positions as well. Brown, good one. Meager, short. Semos goes back to Meager, looks at Blake, decides against it for the moment. And thumped out of play. Blake has got it. And Amalia Blake can line him up, and she does not convert as it kept in play. Yes, it is. And Claudia Semos are in fact in goal attack. Blake, good rebound, needs to convert here, and she does, and she gets one back for Wandin, and they needed that one desperately. And a Wandin centre pass. Brown, Meager, who's moved into the mid-court. Tweedale does well, gets it to Brown. Semos, here is Blake. And Amalia Blake. His opportunity so important for Wandin. She converts, gets it back to 2 goals the difference. 29 to 31. DeBoof. Beautifully cut off, and here we go. Wandin on the counter-attack once again. Nicely done. Meager. Wallmeyer. Meager. Brown. Blake wants it long, but it goes short to Semos. Oh, beautifully done by Dunlop. She goes short to Tuff. And now Woori on the counter-attack. Corliss looks around, comes inboard, finds Smith. Smith onto Wilcox, comes back to DeBoof. DeBoof all the way across and eventually works out to Corliss. And here is Wilcox. And she converts and steadies the ship once again for Woori Yallock. They get the margin back to 3 goals the difference. So some good defensive work by both teams, but it was Woori who were able to convert on the counter-attack on that occasion. Meager, long to Blake, and there's too much on it. And here's an opportunity again for the Tigers. Jamie Tuff, not the most favourable pass, and they've coughed it up, have the Dogs, and they do get a bit of a mulligan here, Wandin, and Amalia Blake will make no mistake, converts the goal, back to 2 goals the difference. Smith. Comes out wide, Corliss, good one. Waits and comes back to Dunlop. Dunlop onto DeBoof, finds Smith. Smith to Wilcox. And Hayley Wilcox converts again, gets it back to a 3-goal difference. So really crucial, these opportunities for the Tigers. Semos, Meager. Short one, good one. Brown. Finds Samos over the head of Blake. Will it be recovered by Mega? Yes, good work rate by Kyla Mega. Made sure that ball didn't trickle out of play, and Amalia Blake now will get a look. Bit of contact anyway, and Amalia Blake puts it away. Back to 2 goals the difference. So Wandin stay in the hunt. Smith, Corliss. Smith runs onto her. No, she doesn't. And Wandin with an opportunity to get the ball moving out of defence. So Campbell, short to Tweedale, looks at Walmire. Oh, beautifully done by Wilcox. The attacker turned defender. She goes to Danica Corliss. She converts. And again, Woori Yallock pushed the margin back out to 3 goals. And they just seem to have all the answers at the moment. Brown crosses. DeBoof gets a hand in. And Dunlop forces the interception. And once again, the Tigers on the counter-attack. Thorne got it from DeBoof. Goes short to Corliss, who works her way up the court. Finds Smith once again. And here is Wilcox. And she pushes it out to a 4-goal margin. And suddenly, alarm bells are ringing for Wandin. Woori with all the momentum in this game. Beautifully done, though, by Campbell. And she heard the alarm bells, but they've turned it over again. Can you believe this? And Wilcox receives the long drive. This for the biggest lead of the game for the Tigers. And she makes no mistake, 36-31. And suddenly, this is a bit of a hill to climb for the Dogs. Can they respond? So they come out wide. Mega drills one in to Semos. Semos, Thorne, nearly a clever interception, but Blake. Too good Amalia Blake, and she converts a much-needed goal for the Dogs. Gets it back to 4 goals a difference, 36-32. DeBoof. Good one. Smith, long drive, and Wilcox has been so impressive today, and she converts another opportunity. Again, gets the lead back out to 5 goals for Woori Yallock. So now it's Wandin and need to string a few together. Mega, Walmire, back to Mega. Smith got the hand in and a Booth will end up with it. And they're on the counter-attack again here, the Tigers. Smith comes inboard to Dunlop, onto Corliss. Corliss, long drive. Oh, Wilcox again. This for a 6-goal difference. Maybe not. And the Wandin defence hold up. Steadfast were Campbell and Tweedale, and they're on the counter-attack now. The Dogs, they need to find the next goal. Here is Semos. Semos. Mega comes back. Good one. Mega again is involved. Had Brown, but goes long to Blake, and she's got it. And Amalia Blake has to put this through, and she does. Back to 4 goals the difference. 37-33. The way of the Tigers. DeBoof on the end of it. Looking for and finding Wilcox. And Hayley Wilcox gets the instant response for the Tigers. Back to 5 goals the difference, 38-33. And so Woori just with the answers at the moment. Brown. Tweedale to Walmire. Tweedale this time to Brown. Mega. Long drive. Blake. She didn't have front spot, but she just had the height advantage on Jamie Tuff, and she gets it back to 4 goals the difference. Can they get the next one, Wandin? Can they force a turnover? Smith gets it out wide. Wilcox to the front. And Hayley Wilcox, she's causing all sorts of issues for this Wandin defence, and she converts another goal. 39-34. Brown laterally to Walmire. Then it came back to Brown. Couple of 1-2 passes between the two Wandin mid-quarters. Mega, Blake. And Amalia Blake makes no mistake again. Back to 4 goals the difference. 39-35. Smith. DeBoof. Corliss. Looks at what's up ahead. Smith. Good one. Comes out wide. DeBoof. Danica Corliss. Little unsure where to go. Crosses to Smith. Looking for Wilcox. The Wandin defence. Have they muddled this up? No, they have too. Can you believe that? And Hayley Wilcox, after all that, puts it back out to a 5-goal difference. So it comes out wide. Semos comes to Mega. Good strong hands. Goes back to Brown. Blake has got it. And Amalia Blake converts another opportunity. Again back to 4 goals the difference. It is all to play for here for Wandin. They've got to start making some inroads. Deboof finds Smith. Right at a measure here at the edge of the goal circle, and Wilcox didn't like that spot at goal. So Corliss has to come back to Smith. Smith waits and waits, eventually goes for Corliss again. She'll go short to Deboof. Deboof and Wilcox. Oh! Wilcox is okay, bit of a tumble. But she's back up, and more importantly, she's converting the goal and getting the margin back to 5 goals for Woori. Brown. And she's taken too long, can you believe that? Crucial victory for the Woori defence. It comes out wide. Smith, long drive. Wilcox to the front. Comes back to Deboof. Can they push this out to a 6-goal difference? We're about to find out. They can. 42-36. New biggest lead of the game for the Tigers. And Smith has the centre pass. No. Yes, Smith does have the centre pass. Shouldn't have doubted myself. Comes out wide. Deboof made it work. It was a hot pass, but she's turned it over, and Wandin can counter-attack. So this is so crucial here for the Dogs. Meager on the end of it. Long drive is a good one to Semos. Pops it over the top, and Blake has got it. And Amalia Blake converts back to 5 goals the difference, and Wandin needed that desperately. And Annie Brown has the centre pass. Meager wanted to pull the trigger, but she couldn't do so. She just didn't have a lot offering to her. Brown looks around, retreats to Wallmeyer. Wallmeyer to Semos, to Blake. Couldn't gather it, but Meager did well. Off the hands, and Amalia Blake needs to convert this opportunity for the Dogs, and she does. Smith, Deboof, Dunlop, Deboof. Laterally, good one to Corliss. And Campbell, so important, and Wandin can counter-attack once again. If they can convert off this, they'll get it back to 3 goals the difference. Wallmeyer waited. Meager, too much on the pass to Blake, can you believe that? And Woori get out of jail for the moment. Thorne, long drive, good one to Deboof. Corliss calls for it, and she'll be honoured. Smith, don't think she was quite expecting the short pass, but she got it anyway. And Wilcox, there's too much on that one, but only Wilcox called for blood rule. I thought there was going to be a contact call for a second, but so the Wandin defence with another opportunity to counter-attack, and they need to make this count. Brown, really unsure where to go. She retreats to Campbell. Campbell drives them up the line and finds Meager, who did well to keep it in play. Inboard to Tweedale. Tweedale, long one to Brown. Brown to Blake. And Amalia Blake can cut it back to a 3-goal difference, and she does. And Wandin are coming. And if they can convert off the centre pass, it'll be back to 2 goals the difference. Short one, good one. Laterally, this will work out. Tweedale, Brown. So Annie Brown, Semos, Meager. Little underground pass works out for Semos, who will have a look at goal now. Doesn't convert, but Amalia Blake right there, and she does convert, and it is back to a 2-goal difference. And this game really heating up suddenly. Corliss, Deboof. Deboof, look away pass, and they force a turnover and Wandin on the counter-attack again. Laterally, good one. Long drive to Meager, who finds herself on the end of it, but she's turned it over. And Woori are going to get out of jail. Short pass is a good one. Smith, Thorne, back to Smith. Deboof. And here is Wilcox. And she can steady the ship for Woori Yallock, and she does. Gets it back to 3 goals the difference as we start to near 3/4 time. So it comes out wide. Good one. Semos. Back to Wallmeyer, and then Meager. Brown. Semos. Meager. Blake. And Amalia Blake gets it back to 2 goals the difference. And that is 3/4 time in the Rochford Wines match of the round. And what a nail biter we have here at Yallock Recreation Reserve. Just 2 goals the difference. The home side still with the lead. It is 43-41 the way of Woori. We'll head off to our 3-quarter time break, and when we come back, all the action from the final quarter. Final quarter action in the Rochford Wines. Match of the round between Yallock and Wandin. The Tigers currently 2 goals adrift as we start the final quarter. And they've got ball in hand for the moment. So Wandin really started to make some inroads towards the back end of that third quarter after Woori had a lot of the control. The question is, can they regain the lead? We've only had 1 lead change so far in this game, and that came in the second quarter. So here is Hayley Wilcox. Wandin, of course, will want to change that. Woori, well, they won't, pretty simply. That's a good start for the Tigers so far. So back out to a 3-goal difference. Annie Brown, who's played centre for the entirety of this second half. Kyla Meagher's also moved into the mid-quarters of wing attack. Meagher goes underground and finds Brown. She'll go back to Meagher. Long drive, and Blake should be able to convert here, and she does. Back to 2 goals the difference. So Smith with the centre pass. Corliss. DeBoof. Will she go long? And it's going to come ahead to Danica Corliss, and Hayley Wilcox, who's been outstanding today, converts the goal, and just like that, Woori get it back out to a 3-goal difference. So pretty easy response, that one. Brown looked at Blake, but goes short to Semos, who might line up the goals. No, cleverly done. Across to Blake, and Amalia Blake converts back to 2 goals the difference. Very important. So Smith out of the centre, finds Corliss. Corliss goes short to DeBoof. DeBoof, Smith. Couple of 1-2s, and now Wilcox can push it back out to a 3-goal difference, and she does, 46-43. So again, Woori have the answers. Brown over the top and works out to Meagher. Meagher retreats and gets it to Tweedale. Wallmeyer. Semos gets it out wide. Blake has got it. And again, Amalia Blake. Ooh. Makes this one work. Back to 2 goals the difference, 46-44. DeBoof, oh, she did well. Didn't fall into that goal circle. Smith. Got to come back to DeBoof, and she probably offloaded just in time. And here is Corliss. Hasn't had too many shots at goal today, and needs to convert if Woori to just maintain this margin, and she does. So 44-47. So goal for goal at the moment, which is fine if you're a Woori Yallock supporter. Not the ideal result at the moment if you want, and there's still 3 goals adrift, but they're still right in this contest, and Amalia Blake is the key, and she's going to convert another goal and get it back to 2 goals the difference. So can Wandin force a turnover here? Can they get this back to a 1-goal difference? Smith, the defensive pressure by the Dogs is good. DeBoof has taken too long, and here's the opportunity now for the Dogs. Can they go end to end? Oh, they might. Contact, and oh, they're going to get away with it, the Dogs. They nearly coughed it straight back up. Brown to the front. Meagher. Short one, and Blake. It was knocked away by Tupp, but she's given away contact. And Amalia Blake, this to get it back to a 1-goal difference. And Emma Thorne knocks it away. Not legally, though, and Amalia Blake converts. Back to 1 goal the difference, 46-47. And Wandin hot on the tails now of Woori. They've trailed for a fair chunk of this game. They lost the lead early days in the second quarter. They haven't led since then, and they've turned it over here. Can you believe that? And Woori on the counter-attack. And they'll want to convert off this turnover, the Tigers, and just get that breathing room back that they've had for such a period of this game. Thorne wanted to go long, but she had to go short to DeBoof. DeBoof's going to have to retreat, and that's exactly what she does to Dunlop. Dunlop looks around, back to DeBoof. The Wandin defence holding up really strong here. Corliss goes out wide to Smith. Look away pass. Campbell, is it kept in play? Yes, it is. Wandin once again on the counter-attack. Tweedale finds herself on the end of it. She'll go back to Brown. Tweedale again too was involved. Meagher comes away. Annie Brown got a bit of contact from Smith. And Wandin are really pressing now. Goes out wide. Thorne's given away contact. Meager. Does she go long to Blake? Yes, she does. And Amalia Blake is about to level the scores. And suddenly, early days in this last quarter, the game has no leader. DeBoof to Corliss in the Wandin defence. The pressure suddenly has ramped up significantly, but here is Wilcox, who needs to convert here, and she doesn't. Maybe feeling the pressure of the situation, but she converts on the second opportunity and just gets the lead back for the moment for Woori. So can Wandin respond? Yes, they can. No, they can't, because Smith forces the turnover. They come all the way back to Dunlop. Corliss waits and finds Smith. Smith to Wilcox, knocked away by Campbell, but it was contact. It was contact. And Woori might be able to regain a bit of this breathing room. Corliss, little underground feed, works out to Wilcox and she converts. Back to 2 goals the difference for Woori, and more importantly, Smith has got the centre pass. So it'll come out wide. Corliss waits. Thorne did well between a couple of Wandin players. Oh, Smith just got it over the head of Warmire, who wanted contact, but none was forthcoming. Corliss all the way across to Smith. Did well to keep it in play. Wilcox has got it. And Hayley Wilcox, maybe with a third opportunity, eventually converts, and it's back to 3 goals the difference for Woori, and they've done this really well. So again, Wandin with a bit of a hill to climb. As more minutes tick away in this last quarter, there's still plenty of time for the Dogs, it has to be said. But they'll be disappointed to draw level and then let it push it back out. Blake! And that's a huge win for Jamie Tuff. Not usually a defensive player, but she's been thrown in there today and had a big task to try and stop Amalia Blake, and they've turned it over the Tigers. Wandin can counter-attack. And so crucial that they do this. Tweedale got it from Campbell, across to Brown, looks for Warmire, finds her. Semos provides an outlet up the court, back to Warmire. Brown, Meager, back to Brown. Will she go long to Blake? No, she goes short to Meager. Claudia Semos, does she line up the goals? Yes, she does. And Amalia Blake gets the rebound, converts the goal, back to 2 goals the difference. So can Wandin force a turnover? We'll find out soon. Oh, Warmire has a bit of a slip, and that was not ideal. And Wilcox, in the meantime, gets it out the back, converts a goal, back to 3 goals the difference. So Woori again with the response. And what a tight tussle this game has been. Over the top to Meager. Meager looks ahead for Blake and gets it to her. Good feed, Amalia Blake. Every goal is so crucial, particularly for Wandin at the moment. And Blake converts, back to 2 goals the difference. Smith, short one, good one. And Wilcox somehow finds herself with so much room out the back and converts a goal, back to 3 goals the difference again, 52-49. Brown, Semos. Semos again on the end of it, looking for Blake. Not going to work out, so Amalia Blake just has to convert. Won't do so for the moment. Semos. We'll have a look at goal, and Claudia Semos. Thorne, did she keep it in? She did, and that's a huge win for Woori Yallock. And if they can convert off this turnover, suddenly they'll be 4 goals adrift. Tuff wastes no time to Dunlop. Dunlop finds DeBoof. He'll go back to Dunlop. Smith had plenty of room to work with. Puts it up for Wilcox. Knocked away by Campbell. And Wilcox now makes it a 4-goal difference. And they've got the centre pass. And again, alarm bells are ringing for Wandin. Not ideal this. Corliss. DeBoof for the look away pass to Corliss. Smith. Wilcox. Will make it 5 goals the difference. 54-49. And Wandin need to get motoring. Mega wastes no time. She goes to Semos. Semos on to Brown. Brown over the top to Blake. And Amalia Blake just has to convert here, and she does. Rarely misses does Amalia Blake. And she's been outstanding once again today, but Woori have really taken advantage of a Wandin side with a few missing personnel, and Wilcox, can she push it back out to a 5-goal difference? She can. And it's been a fantastic effort from the Tigers. A look-away pass, and they're on the counter-attack again. Woori Yallock, Corliss, comes in board to DeBoof. DeBoof goes back to Smith. Smith, Dunlop, Smith again. Corliss could have lined them up, but she comes across to Wilcox, who doesn't convert, and Tweedale, important interception. And Wandin need a counter-attack here. They can't waste too much time. Long drive is a good one, and this is what they've got to do. The Dogs have got to take risks. It's the only way. Tweedale, short one. Good one it was, 2 to Brown. Comes out wide. And here is Amalia Blake. Blake, will she convert? No, she won't. And again, Woori forced the interception. And once again, they're on the counter-attack. DeBoof. Couple of 1-2s with Amber Thorne. Smith got it from Dunlop. Corliss wanted to go to Wilcox. Has to come back to DeBoof. DeBoof, Smith, Dunlop. Well, not Dunlop, sorry. In fact, it was Wilcox. And only Wilcox gets it back out to a 6-goal difference. And Smith has the centre pass. So the equal biggest lead of the game so far for Woori Yallock, DeBoof, Corliss, Smith. Good one to Wilcox. And she makes it 7 goals the difference. This is the new biggest lead of the game. As more seconds tick away, suddenly the task becomes harder and harder for Wandin or Tweedale. Nearly a costly mistake. Semos comes back to Brown. Semos to Blake. Tough. Oh, how about that from Jamie Tough? And suddenly Woori Yallock are running away with this game. Corliss comes inboard to Smith. Smith looks around. Bit of a look away, but it works out to DeBoof. Could have gone to Corliss, but Wilcox, with so much room out the back, makes it an 8-goal difference. And you reckon the Tigers are home now? Can't be too long left in this game. You wouldn't think. Corliss onto DeBoof. Wilcox wants it long, and she's going to get it too. 9 goals the difference now for the Tigers. And they've just got things rolling in this last quarter. Meager, long drive, looking for Blake, and she's got it. Well done, Amalia Blake. She didn't have front spot, but she just wanted that ball so desperately. And she pushes it back out, or gets it back down to an 8-goal difference. Corliss waits and waits and called for stride the transverse line. There you go. So Wandin with an opportunity to respond. And they've got to score off these turnovers. Got to take these opportunities. Meager, short one to Brown. Brown comes out wide to Semos. Brown again is involved. Eventually gets it to Claudia Semos. She finds Amalia Blake. And Amalia Blake converts. 7 goals the difference. And they've got the centre pass. So just have to be clean from here. Knocked away by Thorne, not legally. Brown did well. Blake wants it long. Smith. And Amalia Blake, tough, knocks it out of play. And Amalia Blake doesn't convert. And Woori again find themselves on the counter-attack. Here is Smith. Smith, long drive is a good one. Corliss, turned it over. So Wandin can counter-attack. Meager, good long drive. It works out to Semos. Semos gets it to Blake, and Amalia Blake just has to convert. It's a pretty simple equation, and she does. Converts a goal, back to 6 goals the difference. So Smith with the centre pass to Booth. Comes back to Dunlop, and it won't matter. And Woori Yallock with a huge victory over Wandin here today. Well and truly setting themselves up for a finals berth in season 2025. 59-53 was the final score. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to Game Faces coverage of the Rochford Wines Match of the Round here in the Outer East.